once again flared up in West Bengal, this time in the Mominpore area of Kolkata itself. Allegedly, post a flag during Milad-un-Nabi was vandalized. We don't quite exactly know by whom. Angry mobs ran riot on the streets of the area, attacking houses and shops, allegedly predominantly of Hindu residents, even vandalizing a Durga Puja pandal on the occasion of Lakshmi Puja. All of this violence first started with an attack on the Iqbalpura police station, where mobs were caught on camera taking it over. If such is the state of the police, you can imagine the terror in the minds of the ordinary citizens. Similar scenes emerged from Mayurbhanj in Kolkata, where Hindu houses were attacked and people were seen leaving their premises. Leader of opposition Suvendu Adhikari has written to Home Minister Amit Shah, urging him to deploy central forces before BJP also carried out a protest march to Raj Bhavan this afternoon on the deteriorating law and order situation in West Bengal. Has this indeed become a new normal in Bengal, where mobs rule the roost and predominantly Hindu minorities in certain localities have become easy targets? No matter what the issue, what the flare-up. For example, the post-poll violence after the results were announced of the assembly elections last year, the target in Bengal remains consistent: Hindus. We will take those questions to our panelists in just a bit, but first a reminder of what's lined up. Coming up is an exclusive conversation with former BJP MP Swapan Das Gupta, who's written to the Prime Minister about the incident highlighting the state of Hindu minorities in some areas. But before we bring you that conversation, let's also break down what we know of really what happened. So a religious flag put up for Milad-un-Nabi was allegedly vandalized on Saturday night. That was the trigger as far as we know right now. Angry mobs then vandalized vehicles and property, allegedly only of Hindu residents, pelting stones in response. Mob also surrounded the Iqbalpur police station and virtually took it over. Since then, cops have detained as many as 38 people for creating the ruckus in the area. And today, BJP State President Shikha Mukherjee was arrested as he was trying to visit the affected area. One of the questions that also arises is, why was the opposition stopped from visiting these areas? BJP has also invoked the memory of the ghastly Naukhali riots in the wake of this latest communal flare-up in West Bengal. What were these riots exactly and why are they drawing this parallel? This ugly chapter of Indian history took place between October-November 1946 in districts of Naukhali in Chittagong division of Bengal then. A series of semi-organized massacres, rapes and abductions of the Hindu community. This massacre of Hindu population started on the day of Lakshmi Puja and continued for a week. And this is why the BJP has sought to draw a parallel of what happened in the weekend gone by in Bengal and also around Lakshmi Puja. Now, it is estimated that 5,000 Hindus were killed. Hundreds of Hindu women were actually raped during this one period of massacre and mayhem. And thousands of Hindu men and women were forcibly converted to Islam. The reality is that major law and order disturbances indeed have taken place in Bengal just since the last 1 year, since the new term of Mamata Banerjee-led TMC government in 2021. It all started in May-June itself, post the result of the assembly elections. Large-scale, vengeful violence aimed at BJP workers and supporters, also Hindu community, post the assembly results. Remember, the BJP claims 57 of their workers were killed, and after much dilly-dallying, even the courts came down heavily on the law and order machinery with respect to post-poll violence. In March 2022, 10 people were burnt to death in Birbhum after being firebombed by a mob. And this episode was a major embarrassment for the party, the TMC, the party in power, as their local people were implicated. June 2022, violence in Howrah after Friday prayers against Nupur Sharma's remark. This violence also kept going on nearly for 3 days before the state government seems to get a handle on it. Again, largely Hindu community was under attack of rampaging mobs. And then September 2022, just recently, clashes between cops and BJP workers that just completely went haywire during the latter's Nabanna Chalo protest. It went out of proportion. Several people were injured. The police was questioned over its high-handedness and use of force. Just as much, the BJP was also questioned for violence during their program. So that's the big question we asked today. Is West Bengal law and order situation truly out of control? And is the state in any way complicit in letting mobs run riot? First, here's a little bit more of what happened, and then we debate.
our administration is not capable to maintain peace in a portion of a ward, then this administration is worthless. They should resign.
अगर राज्य सरकार नहीं चाहते हैं तो सेंट्रल फोर्स डिप्लॉय नहीं किया जा सकता। ये मांग फालतू मांग है।
First up, listen in to this exclusive conversation I had with Swapan Dasgupta, former member of parliament and BJP leader, who wrote to the Prime Minister today saying, the rampaging mob violence targeting businesses and property of the Hindu minority in the Kidarpur-Iqbalpur region of Kolkata is alarming. Here's more. I want to begin by asking you, from the facts that we've gathered from on ground, it is suggested that actually it was a religious flag put up for Miladun Nabi, which was allegedly vandalized, that led to this escalation of violence in the area. So then would it be fair to project it as some sort of an anti-Hindu violence?
You've got to see it in a particular context of what this area is. This area has become virtually no-go for all administration, police, etc. It runs on its own steam. It is beyond the scope of any administrative or ordinary norms of civic behavior. It's in this context that we've got to see. Today, you can contrive a situation of saying that some Miladun Nabi thing, there's some flag was uprooted or something like that, some trivial incident. But the fact remains that there was no communal rioting. There was a one-sided assault on property by a rampaging mob, and the videos are telling testimony to all that. What exactly happened? What we are suggesting is that that the state law and order machinery has completely failed. Can you imagine a police station being taken over? Can you imagine a situation where it is quite evident from the videos that the police are going on tiptoes somewhere here, lurking behind, not taking any proactive role in this whole situation? Why? Because there exists a particular environment whereby some people, as a means of political empowerment, are allowed to do dadagiri. That, in a nutshell, is what it's all about. And this is happening not merely in that Kidarpur region, it's happening in various parts of Kolkata and in the rest of West Bengal. And we've seen evidence of this at every stage. There might not have been a large-scale communal riot in any part, but as we saw during the CAA agitation, the potential of it blowing into something out of control is all the more real. And large sections of the population live in absolute dread and without any protection. And this is what we are highlighting.
Okay. You have written to the Prime Minister drawing his attention to the panic of vulnerable Hindu communities in West Bengal to this ugly assertion of sectarian identity, which you say stem from the distorted empowerment resulting from a belief that one community is above the law and norms of civic responsibility. Can you share with me what more details have you gathered of what has transpired, why you call it a one-sided attack?
Because of the sheer evidence. Our teams have not been allowed to enter that area. But from all the videos and everything that is there, and I urge you to actually play some of them on your channel for viewers to actually see what exactly took place. This was not a riot. This was a one-sided attack. An attack mindlessly destroying motorcycles, mindlessly attacking shops, which were closed incidentally because it was Lakshmi Puja. It's that's really the culmination of the entire Durga Puja festival, is the Lakshmi Puja. And there were Lakshmi Pujas being held in small places here and there, mainly in people's homes. And in this environment, a mob goes on the rampage. I don't see anything. This is what I mean. That the belief that some people have been so empowered that they can stand above the law There are enough statements of various ministers. I don't want to bring the political angle to it directly at this juncture. But at present, unless the writ of the state is seen to be running inside such areas, we are likely to get this sort of incidents recurring all the time. So what I'm asking is, let the administration play its role, let the police do its duty. If necessary, take the assistance of central forces, etc. But the display of political and administrative will is now necessary.
Okay.
Alas, I fear this is not going to happen.
Your senior leaders from the BJP, including the leader of opposition, Suvendu Adhikari, has talked about bringing in central forces. He's written to the Home Minister. We've got another minister of yours earlier wanting to go to the area but was restricted. What do you make of that situation? The fact that BJP leaders are not being allowed to go in. And one of the leaders speaking to CNN News 18 did say that we did allow 48 hours for the situation to be rested. As of today, what we are learning from on ground is there is no fresh violence. Should BJP leaders be allowed, and are more of your leaders planning to go?
Well, I think Shikha Mukherjee was he's the state BJP president.
Yes.
He was stopped from going there, and he was stopped miles away from the area. I think it's only right for all representative, democratically elected leaders to be able to go to and visit these things. The MLAs want to go. Suvendu Adhikari, who's leader of opposition, he wants to go. There should not be any restrictions on this. We should have a real fact-finding exercise. And if the violence has stopped, good. I'm glad it has stopped. But let us get to the roots of that violence and make sure it doesn't recur.
Mr. Swapan Dasgupta, you talk about panic amongst the Hindu community, the vulnerability that they are facing, and of course similar instances have happened or similar charges have flown from the BJP against the Mamata Banerjee-led government, both in this new term and in the previous term. There's also been an attempt from the BJP to link it to Noakhali riots. Do you believe that that is a fair comparison to make, or is that also sensational?
No, Noakhali riots took place in 1946. And it was a horrific thing. It's etched in the memory of all Bengali Hindus as something which was one of the most unpublicized incidents of the partition business, which Gandhiji made stayed there for many months to restore peace. You see, Noakhali is just a symbol of what happens when some communal force is allowed to go completely unchecked. It was an instance of administrative failure, it was a failure of political will, it was a failure of all sorts of things. People suffered, people were grievously hurt, killed, forcible conversions, most horrible rapes, etc. We're not comparing normally to what's happening there. But what we are saying is, let's not get into a situation where there is communal polarization all over West Bengal. And I fear, if you don't stop this mindless assertion of Dadagiri, you're going to get into that sort of a situation where instead of fear, it'll turn into hatred. And that's not a good idea. That's not a good thing to happen. So this is a preemptive warning. Situation has deteriorated quite a lot, but we must not allow it to deteriorate further. We must get the administration back in areas from where they've been excluded. There can be no-go areas in the state.
Okay. Swapan Dasgupta, finally I want to ask you, you're saying not only is the law and order situation problematic in West Bengal, and that's been a standing charge by the BJP, no-go areas, etc., police not showing enough will and there not being enough political will. Are you saying that life in general is in danger in West Bengal, but particularly that Hindu lives are particularly in danger in West Bengal? Is that what your stated charge is?
In certain areas, that is certainly the case. That is certainly the case. They live in fear. They can't sell property unless you sell property to a particular, community or something like that. The police, on the other hand, is acting with colossal indifference. There have been cases during the Durga Puja festival of people being murdered. Those were not communal incidents. But what I'm saying is that the attitude of the police people are completely indifferent. The police has been turned into an instrument of the ruling party. And that's really what its professionalism is today at stake. And we want all these normal administrative processes to be restored in West Bengal. There may be political issues connected with communal identities, but they have to be dealt with politically. Today, it's being allowed to go unchecked. One side is just being allowed to go on the rampage. And that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing at all. The polarization which is resulting from this is inimical, in my view, to the larger well-being of society. And that's why it's important that certain steps, harsh steps, are necessary to check this menace.
Okay, I leave it at that. Swapam Dasgupta, thanks a lot for speaking to us. We do await a response from, let's say, the likes of Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee and TMC and the government at large in West Bengal. Going across to our panelists joining us, Bharti Ghosh is BJP National Spokesperson. Manojit Mandal is from the TMC. I'm also joined by Abhijit Majumder, Consulting Editor, Firstpost. Shikha Mukherjee, Senior Journalist, follows Bengal politics very closely. And Dr. P.K. Agarwal is former Additional Chief Secretary of Government of West Bengal and a former IAS officer. Manojit, I begin with you. Why is it that West Bengal is becoming synonymous with deteriorating law and order situation? And forget about communal rights or not. I read out earlier instances of just law and order flare-ups that have taken place just over the last 12 months. Why is this situation prevailing? And shouldn't the government in power be held responsible?
In 2020 January, 50 people were killed under the nose of the Home Minister in Delhi. We talk about law and order failure in Delhi. And that was, by the way, state-sponsored communal rights sponsored by the BJP in Delhi. Nothing of this sort happened in Bengal for the last 5 years. And despite the fact that this narrative, quite nauseating one, it has been continuing for the last 5 years, and it is being fanned quite appropriately by some of the channels in Delhi. Until 2021, the people of Bengal have answered all these news channels, quote-unquote narrative, and everything should have been put to rest. But we know that there is another election in 2024, where again BJP has to come back to their favorite narrative of polarization, and that's why even if there are clashes between two groups, between two clubs, BJP will come up with their favorite narrative of politicizing, communalizing, and spewing venom like this. And when it is being done by an apparently educated person, the former MP, Mr. Swapam Dasgupta, we have to condemn it because he is doing it on national TV. Don't love the peace that we have in Bengal. We're talking about Durga Puja. We had a thumpingly peaceful Durga Puja, which was wrapped up yesterday with that very, colorful carnival led by Mamata Banerjee. We had a very peaceful Lakshmi Puja. Even today we are having Lakshmi Puja. You can hear the sounds of drums and loudspeaker from my place. Nothing has happened.
Yeah, yes, but you cannot deny that what happened in Mominpore also did happen. I mean, these visuals are not a figment of someone's imagination. This did happen. What happened in Birbhum did happen. The High Court in Kolkata has, of course, lambasted your government and the police over the post-poll violence. We are not making this up.
No, can I answer? These unfortunate incidents take place not just in Bengal, but even in other parts of the country, mostly in BJP ruled state. I gave an example of Delhi. What happened to 2020?
We discussed Delhi a lot. That was indeed a failure of law and order. So nobody gave a free pass to the Delhi police.
When a police officer in broad daylight murdered in Haryana, did you talk about that? When the girls in Hadras, the Dalit girls into a 4th September just last month, raped in UP, did we talk about that?
Yes, we did.
Law and order failure? No, we did not. It is only Mamata Banerjee who is singularly targeted for the last 5